This November 7, 2013 regular meeting number 7 of the Fairfax County School Board will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence, and the performance of the National Anthem by the Madison and South Lakes High Schools Chamber Choirs under the direction of Claire Rowan and Rita Gigliotti. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars, bright stars, bright stars, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was beautiful, wasn't it? Thank you. Show me signs.
I just want to say, as the representative of Hunter Mill District, both of those high schools are in my district, Madison and South Lakes, and I have to say that is the best rendition of the national anthem I've ever heard. So thank you, guys.
So when they come back next time, we expect you to join them. The next order of business is announcements. Let me click on announcements. Let me first, on behalf of the school board, thank the voters of Fairfax County for their overwhelming support of the 2013 school bond referendum. During Tuesday's election, 74%, it's a 74%, of the Fairfax County voters approved the $215 million school construction bond referendum. Voters understood that FCPS faces a critical shortage of facilities and that our growth is rapidly outpacing classrooms and facilities. The following school improvement projects are included in this 2013 school bond referendum: construction of 2 new elementary schools, renovations and renovation planning for 17 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 3 high schools, as well as the fund for capacity enhancement, infrastructure management, and site acquisition. This is a wonderful example of the extremely strong support that residents of Fairfax County have for our schools, and thank you again for your support. I believe that we have a Boy Scout in the audience. If he could stand and for recognition. Thank you. Could you give me a troop number? Troop number 158 from where? Oak Hill. Thanks for joining us this evening. Is there another? Oh, there are two more in the back. Could you tell us where you are from? 3.
Oh, good.
152 from where? Vienna. And then 2 gentlemen back there. 1501 from Springfield. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
There you go.
The board held a closed meeting earlier this evening and certified compliance immediately upon it convening in public at the forum work session, which preceded tonight's regular meeting. If you would like to access tonight's agenda and related meeting documents, you can do so by going to the FCPS website, select School Board, and then Upcoming Meetings and Agendas. If you have signed up to speak before the board during citizen participation, please turn in 16 copies of your remarks at this time to the Deputy Clerk sitting in the section to my right. If you would like to review a copy of the agenda and any agenda item that is being discussed tonight, that information is also on the table by the auditorium entrance. Please turn off or silence your cell phone. Let me call on Mr. Ash for further announcements.
November 11th is Veterans Day. Veterans Day, formerly Armistice Day, is the anniversary of the armistice which was signed in the forests of Campaign by the Allies and the Germans in 1918, ending World War I after 4 years of conflict. At 5 a.m. on Monday, November 11th, 1918, the Germans signed the armistice, an order was issued for all firing to cease, so the hostilities of the First World War ended. This day began with the laying down of arms, blowing of whistles, impromptu parades, and closing of places of business. All over the globe, there were many demonstrations. No doubt the world had never before witnessed such rejoicing. Veterans Day is observed annually in the U.S. in honor of all of those, living and dead, who served with the U.S. Armed Forces. The school board directs school personnel to provide students with instructional activities that honor veterans and recognize the role of the military in American democracy. Many schools have special events to which they invite veterans and members of the school community on active duty military. American Education Week and Geography Awareness Week both occurred during November 18th through 22nd. American Education Week was established in 1921 by the National Education Association to raise public awareness of the importance of public education in America. The organization's annual tagline, Great Public Schools, a Basic Right and Our Responsibility, focuses on the critical role parents play, the invaluable services provided by education support professionals, and the importance of substitute teachers. As part of the observance, community leaders are invited to serve as educators for a day in order to get a glimpse at a day in the life of a school employee. American Education Week features a special observance on each day of the week, including veterans, parents, education support professionals, and substitute educators. Geography Awareness Week is an opportunity to focus on geometry as a critical component of a 21st century education. The 2013 theme, The New Age of Exploration, focuses on how geography enables everyone to serve as intrepid explorers. Geography Awareness Week was established by presidential proclamation in 1987 to underscore the importance of geographic understanding to ensure our nation's economic competitiveness, national security, environmental sustainability, and livability of our communities in the 21st century.
Thank you, Mr. Ash. The next order of business is recognition of School Psychology Awareness Week, and let me call on Mrs. Strauss.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next week is School Psychology Awareness Week. School psychologists, helping children and youth thrive in school, at home, and in life. They also bake good cookies. Thank you. The theme of this year's School Psychology Awareness Week, We Are All In, Teams Work, focuses on helping students and colleagues recognize, employ, and enhance team-related skills. The program involves resources and activities that school psychologists can use to encourage fellow staff members, students, and parents to identify and use skills that are critical to successful teams and success in school and life. School psychologists work with students in early childhood settings and elementary and secondary schools. They collaborate with teachers, parents, and school personnel to create safe, healthy, and supportive learning environments for all students. School psychologists address students' learning and behavioral problems, suggest improvements to classroom management strategies or parenting techniques, and evaluate students with disabilities and advanced academic students to help determine the best way to educate them. Our psychologists are an important part of our school teams, giving support to children, to teachers, to families, to educators, and to our community in general. And we very much appreciate the work that you do. If you would please come down so we can all take a group picture. Thank you.
I could have you two switch. And I'm going to take two parts.
Mr. Chairman, before they all leave, I'd like to real quickly, if you don't mind, recognize Dr. Dee Dee Baylor, who's in charge of all this great 150 school counselors. I don't know where she went. Oh, right there, right there. She's great. Thank you very much.
And Dee Dee baked the cookies. Thank you.
And they are low-calorie cookies. Now we have a spotlight on learning. It's a fostering critical and creative thinking skills in FCPS fine arts programs. And Dr. Garza?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is very appropriate tonight to have this particular topic because just this morning this afternoon, we had King K here for the second time, facilitating a group of 70, helping us develop a portrait of a graduate in FCPS, really thinking about the skills necessary for success in the future. And these 21st century skills, which we're going to hear about tonight, even in our fine arts programs, which I think is wonderful. So tonight's spotlight will be presented by Tamara Ferreira, our coordinator of fine arts in our instructional services department. The topic of the presentation is fostering critical and creative thinking skills in FCPS's fine arts program. Also, we are very pleased to have with us this evening Dr. Salome Presidio, Assistant Superintendent of the Instructional Services Department. He's also joined by Paul Wardinsky, who's the director in the department. And then we have Jennifer Himes, who is a specialist in fine arts projects in the Instructional Services Department, and Marina Damon, a junior at Fairfax Academy. And now I'd like to welcome Tamara Ferreira to the podium to introduce this segment. Thank you.
Good evening. This year, the FCPS Instructional Improvement Plan is about how we help develop critical and creative thinking skills in our students. So tonight, I'm excited to share with you our video about how the fine arts classes is helping to build those skills in our students. This video that you're about to see will show a quick snapshot of 2 critical and creative thinking strategies that are being used in our fine arts classes across the K-12 spectrum. So if we could play the video now, please.
We're all architects designing a dream house for our family. What materials is the house made out of? Is it a log cabin? So today was mainly focused on visualization. They were coming up with their own ideas, closing their eyes and really dreaming up their design, and then discussing that, hearing other people's ideas, and then putting it down on paper. So raise your hand if you'd like to share something interesting about the house that you thought of.
The door is almost on top of the roofs, and you have to use rocket boosters, and there's and you have to type in the secret code to get inside.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
A house with floaties under it, it's floating on top of water.
I wanted them to make that connection between houses and the fact that they can all be different, so that then when they start creating their own, maybe the possibilities would be more expanded. So using visualization strategies in the lessons, it really helps them to become thinkers, to start trusting their own ideas.
Let's talk a little bit about what the composer's intent in this piece is, right? And how we are going to be able to realize that intent. The title is Bluebells of Scotland. What's the biggest clue to what the composer's intent is, do you think?
Bells, Seyfried, bells.
What kind of image does this evoke for you when you hear the opening of this piece?
Well, I can see foggy fields with a little bit of rain, maybe.
I was using visualization and questioning today, and my intent was to get the students to have a deeper understanding of what the composer's intent was when they're playing the piece, and to understand that music really can paint a picture, and then the composer was trying to paint a picture by layering these different music elements on top of each other.
visualization and feeling is an important part of music. It's like that's basically like 90% of what music is. The other 10% is just technical. So it's important for a person to be thinking about what they want to project to the audience.
As an ensemble, we're going to support our teammates in justifying that ideas. And if that is true, what else is true?
FOFI is a program, not a program, an idea that helps you think of and create new ideas, and you can use it in a lot of different places, at school, at home, in situations that you just need a little more spicing it up, even if it's like improv.
We're going to create this tableau that's filled with emotion, character, story, detail.
What situation are they in? And go ahead and state it.
FOFI stands for fluency, originality, flexibility, and elaboration. It's actually the idea of creating new ideas, generating new ideas, scaffolding ideas.
I'm his son. I'm his crown. I'm a reporter. I'm the waffle carpet. I'm Queen Waffle. Good, let's just. I'm a plate of waffles. I'm the cameraman. I'm the scepter.
It's perfect in a theater class because that's sort of what we do on a day-to-day basis, but particularly when we're working with improvisation. This idea that whatever is stated, whatever happens, the next thing is automatically expected to build off of it at a quick pace without being pre-scripted or rehearsed or thought out or edited. So it really allows for this permission to be open and explore all these new ideas and possibilities.
You shall feel my power. Twinkle, twinkle. Up to both hands. Excellent. Now get on my face. Good. I'll get you, my pretty.
I think I might be able to use it so that in case I'm in a situation where everybody else isn't working together, I can help them, and I can also show my ideas and help us work together to create more ideas to help everybody else.
So joining me tonight is Marina Damon, a dance student at Fairfax Academy. So Marina.
Hi, my name is Marina Damon. I am a second-year student in the Fairfax Academy dance program. Dance Academy is more than just a dance class. It's a learning environment. It's a part of my normal education. For me, every day, not am I only going to school and doing all my normal high school classes, but I'm also doing my Dance Academy class. It's about an hour and a half at the end of each day, but being in the highest level in the program, it's required every day, and not only does it take time during your normal school day, but also outside of school. So one of the biggest examples that I can describe to you that demonstrates critical thinking and creativity would be the second year signature project that I'm required to do. So this project is just a solo project completed over the course of one regular school year, and it can range anywhere from running the student showcase to choreographing your own whole new dance, which is what I have selected to do. So for my project, you have to start with planning the entire process. So, what dates you need to complete parts of the assignment by, what dancer you want to use that's going to be best for your piece, what type of music you think will work, and also one of the requirements is that you use a song that doesn't have lyrics, so you're able to express your own feelings rather than just listening to a song, hearing the lyrics and being like, okay, this is the meaning of the song. You have to bring in your own creativity to what the dance really means to you. So for me, that's just the biggest example that will show how much critical thinking and creativity is used in this class. And it's not just a dance class at the end of the day, it's a whole way of expanding my education. And dance has always been what I wanted to do. It's where I want to go in college. I want to major in it, and having this class just sets me up and prepares me for the future, and the lessons we learn in there apply not only to my dance career and path, but also just to normal everyday life situations. And becoming the better person that I am. It's all about your motivation and determination and focus, and being able to apply that in your dance, but also in just the way you live your life just helps you to become a better person and well-rounded overall. So I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, and to this day I cannot imagine what my life would be like if I hadn't participated in this program. Thank you.
I am available if you have any questions for us.
Mrs. Strauss?
I have a question, and you may not be able to answer this, but I know that we have another program called Drama to the Core.
Yes.
And again, trying to use what we know in the arts to expand our thinking. I don't know if you want to comment a little bit on what that program does and how that helps classroom teachers.
Yes. Drama to the Core was a program that was a joint initiative between our drama teachers and the many different disciplines, math, science, social studies, and reading. And what they have done is they have taken the content of, let's say, math, and then they have used theater strategies to be able to, and use theater strategies to teach that content. So without compromising the theater skills and concepts that we also want them to learn. So it's a way that any teacher, theater teacher, math teacher, science teacher, can get the students up and actively involved in their learning. So it is a great program that is available for any teacher in the school system.
Right, and I believe it's available on eCart.
I believe, I think right now it's in Blackboard, and it's
Okay.
in the process of being transitioned into eCart.
But I know it's available electronically for anybody that wants
Yes,
it to
ma'am.
be able to expand in a more multidimensional way, whatever core subject you're at.
Yes, ma'am.
Good example, thanks.
Ms. Hines, next.
Great. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I love hearing from students. Thank you so much for coming out today. It sounds like you've already had a long, busy day, and we really appreciate it. But I wanted to, arts feel like extra. You know what I mean? And I think particularly when we talk about a tough budget year like we have now, I mean, no one's talking about putting anything on the block, on the cutting block. But I think what you're doing is important because we're being intentional about teaching those skills that are transferable, and we're making it clear in our conversation about how they're transferable. I wonder, though, as we talk about sort of measuring what we do, and if we want to measure what we really care about, then this is the kind of stuff we want to measure. Have we done any of that where, like, we say, okay, we have a school with a program like the Dance Academy, and do we have a sense of how we measure what effect that has on critical thinking skills and success in other areas of the curriculum? Or are we just, I mean, I have faith in it, but are we also able to measure it somehow? I don't know.
I wouldn't know how to, I don't know that we have, but I will tell you, I think that's where we do need to go. Although not everything, it's difficult to draw a causal effect, to everything that we do. But I do think there's significant brain research around how important the arts are to learning, and being able to, the skills you learn in fine arts do translate very, very well to the core academic subjects, as well as wonderful life skills that you develop. But I do think we need to strive to get there in terms of kind of a return on investment. How is it benefiting learners overall? And I think we can probably do some more in that area. I also want to compliment you and your entire team. As I'm learning about the school division, I'm just amazed at the quality fine arts programs we have all throughout the division, some of the best I've ever seen. And I think the students that we're singing tonight were yet another example. Marina, you, of course, as well, of just what great talent we have throughout our division. So thank you for supporting our fine arts teachers throughout the division.
Thank you. We do have some of the best teachers.
I think we do have many of best teachers.
We have many of the best.
Mrs. McLachlan.
Mine's more of a comment than a question. First of all, what a wonderful presentation. Thank you. It's interesting I'm following Ms. Hines because I think we both share the same passion and support for the arts. But as a parent of children in schools, I just so want to emphasize that what I love about the fine arts and what I really hope we can protect in our public schools is that promoting joy and passion for the arts is what I want for our children first and foremost. The pressures we have to measure and test kids in the core academic subjects is something we're struggling as a system and nationally. And I think I would lose all hope if I thought we would then really ruin the joy and the passion that helps, I think, keep our kids often excited about learning still. And so I shared with Dr. Presidio that I've had several arts teachers at the elementary school level reach out to me and say, please, as we try our best to be accountable for our arts program, that we be really mindful and communicate with our teachers about how best to capture the achievement without killing the joy and the passion in that setting. And so the video, I think, captures that passion and joy, and I just wanted to make that extra plug again that I think our teachers in the classroom are our very best advocates to be able to say, how can we make the fine arts meaningful, but not take away the joy and passion. So I don't know if Dr. Garza wants to follow since I threw all that out there, but I just first want to say thank you. Fantastic job tonight.
Thank you.
This probably could lead to a very long discussion, but I can't leave this unsaid. You're exactly right. As we talk about the portrait of a 21st century learner, the portrait of an FCPS student and graduate, we will have to think differently about assessment. And I think the kind of assessment that probably Ms. Hines is speaking of, and what I'm contemplating, measuring fine arts and measuring other things, would be more authentic, more performance-based, or more project-type learning, which, like electronic portfolios. Of course, interestingly enough, in a lot of ways, fine arts lends itself quite well to that kind of approach because the product is what we saw, right? And there are ways to of course, measure that in different ways. So, very good point. I think that's kind of where we all want to go.
So I will just follow along. Of course, we do have the 6th grade assessment for music and art, and they are performance authentic-based assessments, and there is one per year for art and one per year for music for our 6th graders. And of course, we are looking at an electronic portfolio model. We're testing it now in 4 schools, and the feedback so far is the kids are enjoying getting up with the iPads and videotaping each other and doing quick snapshots of their artwork in process. So we are in the testing phase, and we will let you know how it goes, but we're hoping for some good anecdotal data and qualitative data that we can, decide where to go next with them.
But one of the things that was shared with me is that in this desire to measure and to incorporate the core instruction into the arts just to make it, quote, meaningful in the learning environment, the concern is that some of the assignments that these elementary school teachers are having to require of the students are far too mature and sophisticated, so they're actually anxiety producing for students. And so I just really hope we can continue that dialogue with our teachers, because they are the ones day to day in the classroom with students, and if they're finding students are stressed out and anxious about their fine arts projects, that's, I think, a red flag. So it's just about dialogue and
we've been working with teacher focus groups, through the development of the current 6th grade assessment, and even with the portfolio process. Before we even attempted it, we got the focus group together, teachers, so we could really gauge their interest, and should we pursue this, and what would it look like, and what would you want to see in it, what would you tell us, our students. So we're really engaging teachers in that dialogue, but we will be asking students what they think about the portfolios at the end of the year too, because we want to know what did they think having had that experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Mr. Fairfax.
Thank you. I just really appreciate your presentation. Today I was at the Portrait of a Graduate, and as Dr. Garza said, the skills that you are teaching in these programs are the skills that we need they're those types of skills, the interaction, the being able to think on your feet, do things like that. I think that's very, very important. So I really appreciate all the work you're doing. I just have a question for Marina. What is your base high school? Do you go to Fairfax Academy full time? Okay, all right, yes, because I know that program is wonderful, and I will express my personal advocacy on this board for expanding that kind of program to other schools because it's not easily reachable by all the other schools. And I think that it's a wonderful program because I have looked at it. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Ash is the last one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start off by saying I have a deep love for the arts, starting with an art teacher for a mother. I was raised in, with Saturday trips to art museums, but I've since I go to a science and tech high school and have a science and tech curriculum. But one of my favorite activities is extracurricular theater. I actually came before this meeting today. I was there rehearsing. So I have a deep love for the arts, and we provide great opportunities for our students. I actually went to middle school with Marina here, and I know how talented a dancer she is, and I'm just so happy that our county values the arts enough to provide students these opportunities to not only gain more experience with their art of choice, but really tie it in a meaningful way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Almost forgot, we have a musician on the school board, Mr. Welka.
And I'm actually going to talk about ballet. Ms. Dernak-Kovic sort of teed up my question. So I know we have dance at Fairfax High. Do we offer dance at any other schools?
Yes, it is available at, I believe 6 schools. I'm not sure that I can give them all to you, but I believe, well, I know there's Mount Vernon, South Lakes, West Potomac, South County, and then Fairfax, and then there's only 5 now. I do apologize. Wait, does McLean? Oh, McLean. Unfortunately, McLean's is a closed shop. So there's 5 now.
So I guess my question was, do we have any unmet demand? I mean, is there a need or desire to expand the availability of dance specifically?
I think if there was student interest and the schools, I think we could expand the programs, but it is based on enrollment and, availability in the student schedule. So, if there is the interest and for example, if McLean were for some reason to have another class form for next year, we would be right there with them with a great dance teacher. So we certainly support the expansion of the dance program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a citizen participation. Fairfax County citizens who would like to address the school board should arrange to be placed on the speakers list by signing up online at www.fcps.edu or by calling the school board office at 571-423-1075. If the concern is a group concern, please consider appointing a spokesperson, and while the spokesperson is speaking, those in support may stand to show their support. The school board will not hear statements involving issues that have been scheduled for public hearings, such as capital improvement program, budget and boundaries, or personal attacks on any person. Complaints regarding individual students or school-based employees should not be raised at public meetings. Any such concern should be directed to the appropriate school principal or other school officials. Citizens are encouraged to write the school board on any school-related topic. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to not more than 3 minutes and provide at least 16 copies of their presentation for distribution to the board. Tonight, 2 citizens have signed up to address the board: Janet Lovegross and Phyllis Payne.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Janet Lovegross, and I am a clinical psychologist and member of the Northern Virginia Clinical Psychologists, the regional affiliate of our State Virginia Academy of Clinical Psychologists and of the Virginia Psychological Association. It is the mission of this group, NVCP, to educate the public about scientific knowledge and resources to promote human welfare. In that spirit, NVCP agrees that sleep is critical for maintaining emotional and physical health and advocates for finding solutions that will allow adolescents in Fairfax County to get adequate sleep and has endorsed my testimony here today. Sleep is a key component of mental health. Insufficient sleep contributes to mood swings, behavior problems, impulse control difficulties, and risk-taking behaviors, according to the 2007 National Youth Risk Behavior Survey data of U.S. high school students from all 50 states and D.C. This well-conducted study showed that insufficient sleep was associated with increases in use of soda, cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, sexual activity, computer use, physical fighting, and decreases in physical activity. Of special note are the findings that fewer than 8 hours of sleep a night contributed significantly to increased feelings of sadness and hopelessness and serious contemplation of suicide. Here in Fairfax County, according to the latest Youth Risk Behavior Survey, 31% of 8th, 10th, and 12th graders reported that they have felt so sad or hopeless almost every day for weeks in a row that they stopped doing some usual activities in the previous 12 months. That description is one of the main diagnostic criteria for depression used by mental health experts. In addition, in the 2009 version of the same survey, 15% of students reported that they had considered seriously attempting suicide. This question was not asked in 2012. Teenagers need more than 9 hours of sleep on average. Melatonin, the sleep hormone, is released later at night in teens than in any other age group, which creates difficulty falling asleep before 11 p.m. Nightly sleep loss produces sleep debt. It has been shown that adolescents have decreased performance and function with each night of reduced sleep, with lower grades being linked to sleep loss. Teens with later high school start times get an average of 5.5 more hours of sleep and go to bed only 2 minutes later on average than teens with earlier school start times. The current scheduled start times of the high schools in Fairfax County make it virtually impossible for our adolescents to get a healthy night's sleep. We must figure out a way to reduce the very negative and detrimental effects of sleep deprivation on our teens. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next speaker is Phyllis Payne.
Just hold those up. Good evening, Dr. Garza, Chairman Moon, members of the school board, and other school leaders. I'm Phyllis Payne, co-founder and executive director of SLEEP. Tonight I'm here to deliver letters from local health professionals. A SLEEP volunteer mailed information to the largest pediatric practices in Fairfax, and in return we received these letters addressed to the school board in support of later high school start times. The letter reads, "We, the undersigned pediatricians and health professionals, support the goals set by the Fairfax County School Board. Therefore, be it resolved that because of the benefits to student health, well-being, and performance, it is a goal of Fairfax County School Board to achieve high school start times after 8, so that students are able to obtain a healthy and sufficient amount of sleep as defined by sleep research and medical experts. We further encourage the board to act as soon as possible to provide start times that better accommodate adolescent biologically driven sleep patterns and allow high school students to attend class at times when they are more mentally alert. More than 70 area pediatricians, pediatric psychiatrists, psychologists, and other mental health professionals who work with adolescents took the time to mail these back to deliver to you. The support of these local doctors and mental health professionals is part of a larger movement on the part of healthcare providers. The Medical Society of Northern Virginia has long supported this change and earlier this year reaffirmed their support. The Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics also declared support for your efforts to implement change. SLEEP members appreciate your leadership on this important public health concern, and we appreciate the work of other FCPS school leaders on this issue as well. We're also excited to see the progress in Montgomery County. We hope that support from local medical professionals for later high school start times lends urgency to implementation of this important change, as it's a vital element of good health for Fairfax County students. Every year that the current times remain in place is another year of difficulty for many of our students. On the boards here, you can see the text from one desperate Fairfax County student to his parent. I can't keep going to school this early. I can't stay awake in first period. I get home and I'm exhausted. Homework goes super slow and I end up having to stay up late doing it, and then I'm even worse the next day. It just gets worse and worse. And I don't feel like myself anymore. I'm so low energy, I always end up just sitting around watching my friends talk. I used to love family dinners over the summer, but now when I do have time for them, I hardly have energy to interact with you at all. I don't care if we have to move or send me to a private school or something. This is really ruining my life. This young person is not alone. Another email I received the same day, a father wrote about his daughter, a 9th grader, suffering from depression. He believes is linked to the sleep loss from the very early wake times. Thanks again for your leadership and your work on this issue. It really is important.
Thank you. Mr. Ash, for Student Representative Matters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the main issue I'm going to talk about this evening has to do with the theme of student voice. So Madison student Maddie King wrote an open letter, originally signed as the middleman, representing the students who are neither failing nor high achieving. She outlined 3 main points. First, freedom for students within the school, specifically with their flex time or SAP. Second, later school start times. And third, addressing the overall expectations of a graduate. So she directed the letter originally to her principal, Mr. Merrill. However, I feel it's a significant expression of student voice, and so that's why I wanted to highlight it tonight. I think her 3 points are interesting because they go along with discussions that we're currently having as a board. First, having to do with the independence of students within the school. Independence is a very 21st century idea, especially for students. It's moving towards online classes where students are working on their own. And so a 21st century model in the schools will produce a 21st century graduate. Second, having to do with the later start times, as we continue the community discussion about later start times and how to get that implemented, students are speaking up on both sides of this issue, and they are raising valid points, especially from what we just heard from our citizen participants. And third, overall expectations for what a graduate should be. I think this is really important because though we do have high expectations for every student, not every student will achieve the same thing, and we shouldn't expect them to. So in our 21st century portrait of a graduate, we need to consider the different types of students that are out there and how we can work that in and how we can make that clear to the students that they're not all expected to be the next Bill Gates or the next leading scientist. Maddie King, for instance, in her letter, mentioned a student who wanted to be a farmer but was told that that wasn't necessarily a stable profession, and so that that shouldn't necessarily be pursued. But if that's a student's dream, if that's what they want to do, who are we to tell them not to do it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ash. So next we have a confirmation of action taken in closed meeting. This is the portion of the meeting where the board will confirm any action regarding issues that were discussed in the closed meeting. These issues may include action taken regarding students who have been recommended for expulsion by the division superintendent. Board members have discussed each individual case, and at this time we'll make several motions to confirm the recommended action. I have Mr. Velka for a motion.
I move to, excuse me. I move to expel a student for bringing illegal drugs to school with the intent to distribute.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Smith. All those in favor of this motion, raise your hand. Strauss, Evans, McElvin, Smith, Telena, Koufax, Moon, Reed, Velkup. Those opposing? Hines, McLaughlin, and Schwartz. Those abstaining? Mr. Stork. The motion passes. Now we have a committee report. Mrs. Reed, Smith.
Thank you. I served as chairman of a 3-member hearing committee along with Mrs. Reed and Mrs. Strauss, and I moved to expel a student for assaulting a student at school. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor of the motion? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedures, Robert's rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Most of the items listed under the consent agenda have gone through board committee review and recommendation. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member prior to the meeting. 5.01, approve the minutes of the October 24, 2013 regular school board meeting. 5.02, adopt the policy 1100, legal authority, policy 1104, format for directives, policy 4275, length of the school year for students, policy 5740, student accident and life insurance, policy 5810, administration of a school activity fund, policy 5830, school stores, and policy 8611, vehicle replacement as detailed in the agenda item. 5.03, award the contract for the Sunrise Valley Elementary School renovation project to Henry Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $14,444,000 and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. 5.04, award the contract for the installation of 2 synthetic turf fields at Edison High School to Sprint Turf LLC in the amount of $1.257 million and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. 5.05, award the contract for the Marshall Road Elementary School addition project to Sumter Construction Corporation in the amount of $3,797,000 and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. 5.06, appoint individuals to serve on committees as detailed in the agenda item. Is there any objection to approving the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing no objection, the consent agenda is approved. Next, we have a new business. The board will not be voting on these new business items tonight. They will be scheduled for action at the future board meetings. (6.01) Approve and adopt a resolution requesting the Board of Supervisors issue and sell school bonds in the amount of $155 million on behalf of the Fairfax County Public Schools. 6.02, approve the FY 2014 Audit Plan as detailed in the agenda item. By the way, we will be having a work session on the Audit Plan right after. We have a work session scheduled after the regular meeting tonight. 6.03, adopt the policy 2158, student employment, policy 2418, promotion, retention, grading, and graduation requirements, and policy 3201, program of studies as detailed in the agenda item. 6.04, approve changes to the list of middle and high school course offerings for 2013-2014 school year as recommended by the Course Review Committee and as detailed in the agenda item. We have a Superintendent Matters. Dr. Garza.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm continuing the listening tours. I just want to thank board members that have attended those, and certainly those who've been sponsoring those in their districts on my behalf. It was last night at Stewart High School, and before that, Sunrise Valley Elementary School with Pat Hines, and then again with Stewart High School with Sandy Evans, and then we'll be at Kilmore Middle School this Saturday with Patty Reed. And it's been a great, I'm really affirmed and very pleased with how many community members and many of our employees who've attended and have given me a lot of insight and about the school system. So it's been very well received, and I'm very grateful for your participation and support in that effort. We're also continuing the development of the fiscal 15 budget. Again, I want to thank Mr. Velkoff and Ms. Reed for their just yeoman's work and their tireless effort on that, and of course Susan Quinn and Kristen Michaels and our entire team. But I want to take a moment just to thank our County Board of Supervisors. They've been graciously giving up of their time in meeting with us, and I'm very appreciative. I believe that working together we can resolve this very daunting shortfall that we have. So we're very grateful for their time. And then finally, I'd like to congratulate Lynbrook Elementary School and its principal, Mary McNamee. She is a go-getter, and she wrote a grant that ended up becoming a beneficiary of a Miracle School Makeover. They were selected through online nominations received by the nonprofit organization Monkey See, Monkey Do. Love that name, don't you? In partnership with Microsoft and its employee giving campaign. The Springfield School received updated learning spaces both inside and outside the school building, along with significant new technology to help with their parent support center. So it was last Saturday, approximately 150 volunteers transformed several spaces for that school. And so we're very grateful to those organizations for supporting the school, and grateful for the principal for really seeking out those kinds of resources to support the work that they have going on. And finally, I just want to again thank our community for supporting the bond. We're very appreciative of their support, and certainly there's significant needs that we can use those monies for, so thank you.
Hey, Dr. Garza, I was happy to stop by Lynbrook Elementary School on Saturday and see a lot of people coming out to support the school. Now we have a report, and let me call on Mrs. Smith.
Thank you, Chairman Moon. The Governance Committee met on Monday, November 4. We began talking about planning for our next school board retreat, and we do have a governance work session at our full-day Monday work session, so we'll go into details about that then. We will have, for action during the Governance Committee, an additional 2 operational expectations for transportation and facilities. This was at the request of the board so that we would cover energy management and conservation. So they're the 2 OEs, and those are posted so you can see them. And let's see. And then we have 1 policy that's going to come forward about child care services. And I've already spoken with Mrs. Schultz about that. That was at her request. And she's going to request that we have that as a regular part of the meeting and not in the consent agenda. Okay. And then the other meeting we had was yesterday, November 6th, the Infrastructure Financing Committee that I'm on with the Board of Supervisors. And we had a summary of county and schools vacant land, not too much on the school system side, a lot of small parcels on the county sides. Then we talked about the comprehensive plan, public-private partnerships, and proffers. We had a presentation about current county and schools joint uses, and then we started to have a discussion about a memo we're going to send to both boards, so you'll be getting that, and a list of the dollars that are spent, like for park authority and for the schools in different areas in facilities needs. Our next meeting is going to be in December, and we're going to have a presentation about potential revenue options. Thank you.
Mr. Fairfax.
Earlier tonight, we held a forum. There was one topic of discussion. It was regarding sending a letter from our board to the UVA Board of Visitors in support of restoring the Access UVA no loan policy. At this time, after much discussion, the board has decided not to sign it as a collective board, but individuals can work with Ryan on their individual actions and being able to send that out if they like that.
Thank you, Mr. Kovacs. Let me call on Mrs. McLaughlin.
I just wanted to be able to brief my colleagues and the public on another countywide task force that both Jane Strauss and I serve on. The countywide task force is called Successful Children and Youth Policy Team, and the goal is to bring together all of the county agencies and really talk about the issues of early childhood education all the way through K-12, not just instruction, but how we can improve all services to our youth and children so that they can be successful in living in this county. And so yesterday we had one of our monthly meetings, and they generally run for about 2.5 hours. And we had a presentation from both county and FCPS staff on early childhood education with 4 different proposals on how we can improve the delivery of early childhood education in the county. So the task force members are going to be reviewing those recommendations, and when we meet next month, we're going to have a discussion on any recommendations we might have coming forward out of this policy team. We're also going to have a presentation from a gentleman who has done a lot of community based services, and again, it's about that collaboration and coordination of joint county services and what we can be doing to improve that here in Fairfax County. Schools and also county services. Both Ms. Strauss and I will continue serving on that, I believe, through the springtime, and so we're happy to continue updating our colleagues on that work. But I'm very excited and very encouraged by, again, bringing people from the agencies throughout Fairfax County to improve what we do.
Thank you, Mrs. McLaughlin. Now we have a board matters, and I just want to remind the board members that we do have 2 work sessions after the regular meetings. So if you could be judicious with the use of your time during the board matters, and I will start with Mrs. Strauss.
I'll just briefly expand on what Ms. McLaughlin just said, because many people are interested in early childhood. A lot of it had to do with school readiness, and the discussion was in braiding resources and collaboration, but particularly looking at county, federal, state, wherever the grants happen to be, and making the best use for quality childcare as well as quality early childhood, from home daycare providers to independent centers to programs in churches to Head Start, the state pre-K initiatives. So it is looking at all of those, but also acknowledging that we're looking at quality early childhood care and preparation of whoever is providing the service to children, and with a special emphasis on children and families in poverty, because that is where the greatest need is. Thanks.
Ms. Evans?
Thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate the Falls Church High School cheerleaders for their win as 2013 Capital Conference 13 champions. I also want to congratulate the Annandale High School Band. The Marching Adams won first place in Class 3, the Class 3 Open at the U.S. Band's Mid-Atlantic State Competition in Annapolis last Saturday, so congratulations. And last but certainly not least, I wanted to thank the community, the Mason District community, for coming out last night. It was a wonderful group and a wonderful get-together. I was very pleased with both the turnout and the thoughtful comments and questions that we received last night. So thank you, and particularly to Stewart High School for hosting.
Mr. Schultz.
A couple of things. I want to congratulate Instructional Services and the AAP group for putting together the AAP conference, which was the first of its kind. It was probably one of the more fascinating, unexpectedly fascinating conferences that I've attended put together by FCPS. I want to specifically highlight one of the presenters, Dr. Michael Axler, who is a school psychologist at Eagleview. I've never seen a group of parents sit in a room and listen to a presentation by anyone from FCPS and hear a pin drop. And I made sure to tell Carol Horn afterwards that the information that he had on executive function skills for our students is such a crucial need to communicate across FCPS to all of our educators, not only for students with disabilities, not only for gifted students, but for all students. And what a particularly gifted presenter, and he is to be commended. I want to thank Dr. Presidio for his time as I continue to advocate for improved writing, handwriting skills for our youngest students, because I think that that's one of those efforts that will lead to us saving money and saving children and improved education and student achievement. And Dr. Garza knows that I'm advocating for that as well as a very special kindergarten teacher at Ms. Spicer at Union Mill Elementary. And Sangster Elementary on Monday, Veterans Day, I will be in attendance at their 3rd annual Veterans Day event Monday morning. And I do want to bring up that I continue advocacy. I know that many in the community continue to express concern about the fact that we do not take this federal holiday off. I know that some on the board feel that it's wonderful and we can have educational events on Veterans Day. I do think that it is something that we need to get back into our schedule as having off, and that we can do educational events adjunct to Veterans Day. I will continue that advocacy, but it would also be a lot more helpful if we had some latitude from our peers in the Virginia General Assembly to start and run our school calendar as we see best fit for student achievement. So since we're getting ready to have our legislators in this week or next week, we certainly look forward to talking to you about that. And then also next Tuesday, I will be at Irving Middle School PTA meeting, and I think that's it. So I don't know that that was that concise, but I think it was important for my district. Thank you.
Mr. McAvin.
Well, the best part of Veterans Day for this board is that we get to have an all-day work session, and I do want to turn your attention to this rather small bit of reading we have to do over the weekend of the Food and Nutrition Services Study Report. I know we're all looking forward to seeing the recommendations that we receive from that. Touching a little bit on the bond, I am obviously pleased that it passed. I think the only time the percentage has been higher was in 2007 when 79% of residents supported it. But in recent years, it has always been at 70% or above. And I think that truly shows that our community has a vested interest in our schools and making sure that they're the best they can be. And I think that's something that many districts in this country don't have going for them. So we're really lucky to have that kind of supportive community. Tomorrow I will be hosting my first annual Student Advocacy and Innovation Workshop. I'm happy that Dr. Garza and several of our LT members will be attending, and I do look forward to seeing some of my colleagues there as well. And so I will be eager to collect student feedback and share it with the board and with Dr. Garza as we look at the portrait of the graduate. Thank you.
Mr. Equifax.
Thank you. On October 26th, I also attended the GT conference, and I want to thank Dr. Presidio and Dr. Horn for putting together this program. I found it very informative as a board member and as a parent. On October 29th, I attended the WABE meeting, the Washington Area Boards of Education meeting, and it was a wonderful meeting. I attended with my colleague, Ms. Strauss, and there were board members there from the counties of Montgomery, Arlington, D.C., Loudoun, Prince William, Fairfax City, and Manassas. And so it was a great opportunity for us to get together. We had the light topics of school safety and emergency preparedness and budgets. So they were kind of heavy topics for us to discuss, but it was a great way to be honest and open with each other and see, collectively that many of us are facing similar challenges. So it's good. And we had decided we will probably meet quarterly, so maybe 3 more times during this school year we will meet. I also am looking forward to next week attending Veterans Day celebration at Lee High School, as well as going with my legislators to school. I will be taking Senator Barker and Mark Sickles to Bush Hill Elementary School to listen and watch the children as they enter the first, and they'll be waiting there at the bus line with them, so I'm looking forward to that. Today I attended Portrait of a Graduate. We talked about that a little bit, but it is a wonderful, energized group. I thank the citizens who are participating and giving their time and energy. It's a 12-hour commitment, so thanks to all of you who are participating. I think we're going to get some very valuable information, and I know you're all energized. And finally, congratulations to the Edison boys cross-country team who made it to the state championship for the first time. They'll be running in that next Thursday. I believe the team from the TJ boys team also made it, and I'm sorry there was a young lady from Lee who also made it as an individual member. So congratulations to all of you and good luck.
Mrs. McLaughlin.
Because this is School Psychology Awareness Week, I wanted to touch upon some of the things that have been going on in our community and that I've also been involved in. First and foremost, the Frost PTA on October 28th sponsored the Fairfax County Public Schools consultant from the Children's National Medical Center to talk about the comprehensive science and research surrounding the teen brain and sleep. One of the most important statistics that was shared in that discussion was that when they did a study of sleep deprivation on medical school residents, they found that sleep deprivation equated to 3 to 4 alcoholic drinks. And as the mother of teenagers in our high schools, and I'm watching the sleep deprivation on a weekly, monthly, and yearly basis, it really hit home to think about how many of our children are we as parents sending to school essentially drunk from sleep deprivation, and they're getting into cars and they're driving to school. I don't think it's just about our start times. I think it's also about the heavy homework loads that Ms. Hines and I are going to be dialoguing with our board on and with our superintendent. And it ties into tonight's speech that we heard from one of our clinical psychologists. Our own youth risk survey said in 2012 that 31% of Fairfax County students in the survey reported feeling so sad or hopeless almost every day for weeks in a row that they stopped doing activities. If anything is a cry from our very own students, a third of them are reporting this. I pray that this board and this school system authentically starts to embrace what we can do about the whole child, because you cannot learn and be successful academically when your mental health and well-being is compromised, and that's what this survey is telling us. Whether it's sleep, whether it's homework loads, it's there, and we have a responsibility to try and really help our children honestly to be successful. I also want to share with you that the Washington Post ran a recent story that Walt Whitman High School is piloting a special mindfulness training program. And I'll be preparing a forum topic for my colleagues on this. But mindfulness training basically helps the brain improve its ability to react and handle stress. And when we talk about teaching life skills for our students, that crosses all 180,000 of our students, 12,000 graduates a year. If you can learn to successfully manage stress that will be in your life forever, what a life skill we give our kids to be successful. So I wanted to highlight those things this evening, and I want to say a special thank you to our Citizens for the School Bond volunteers. Having been on the 2003 Citizens for School Bond Committee, I know it's a tremendous amount of work, and I am so deeply grateful that every 2 years we have these citizens who give so tirelessly of their time to promote the importance of the bond and give us these pass rates of 70% or more each year. So my personal thank you to each and every one of them. And finally, I wanted to share with Dr. Presidio and his staff what an outstanding AAP conference it was. Not only the keynote speaker, who is the director of the Center for Gifted Education, one of the foremost leaders on gifted education, but the two sessions I attended, one was the George Mason director who does the screening tests, and the other one was on the creative and critical thinking strategies seminar. And it is, without a doubt, information that will help each and every child. This isn't about just, gifted students or advanced academic students. Every child would benefit from the 9 creative and creative thinking strategies that were discussed. And I just want to thank you, and please convey my appreciation. Dr. Garza, you should be so proud of his team and what they presented. I look forward to attending those for years to come, and it was a tremendous amount of work. But wow, what an amazing seminar, so thank you.
Ms. Hines.
Okay, I have to say thank you also to the School Bond Advocacy Committee. Tim Thompson is here, if you'll wave, Tim. He's been doing this for years. I don't even know how many years. Thank you. And Sue Langley, also in Hunter Mill District, was a big help. She's not here tonight. But then Len Forkas, also, I think he ran the effort, and he's a Hunter Mill citizen too. That's right. Hunter Mill is representing, and thanks so much to the citizens for voting for that. Thanks so much, Dr. Garza, for coming out last Monday to Hunter Mill, to Reston, and it was really a great event. Your listening tour, you were listening, and that's wonderful. There were a few times there where I noticed you say, thank you very much, and you were taking notes, and you just said thank you, because somebody had something that they really need to have heard. And so I was grateful definitely to you, to Sunrise Valley Elementary School for hosting us, and to the community members, a lot of teachers in that audience, which I was very glad to see too. And last Saturday, Mr. McElvain and I both attended the second annual Fairfax Bike Summit, and I was very glad to be there. Some of the other advocates, parent advocates from Hunter Mill were there, and very important organizers in that event, Bruce Wright and Jeff Anderson, and other people too. I won't be able to name everybody, but Vienna and Reston have been very active. The parent community in Vienna and Reston have been very active in building a culture of safe routes to schools, biking and walking, and we know that we need to have both the culture and the infrastructure. They have to kind of grow at the same time. It doesn't make sense to build trails if parents and kids are not going to use them. So, but it was a great event. It was an all-day event where advocates and public officials were there talking about some of the successes that Fairfax County has had in turning from a car-dependent suburb into a smarter community when it comes to transportation. And I learned tonight that we now have our funding for our Safe Routes to Schools coordinator grant from the state, which is wonderful. So we'll be looking for someone to fill that position. I think that will be very important going forward. So I'm grateful for that. And then finally, I will join Mr. McElvain tomorrow afternoon. I'm so excited, at his student advocacy event at Woodson High School. So,
Mrs. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Velkoff and I attended the Fairfax Committee of 100 gathering this week to hear a special keynote speaker who was Dr. Karen Garza. She made remarks and then took a lot of questions, and as no surprise, many of the questions were about the budget, but it was a diverse crowd, and it was well attended with people who were very knowledgeable, and it was again part of her efforts and to go out and reach out to people, perhaps people who we haven't necessarily reached out to in the past. So I felt that was time very well spent, and appreciate and applaud your efforts in that regard. Wanted to let folks know that we have 2 principal searches going on, one for Kilmer Middle School and one for Timber Lane Elementary School, and to encourage the public to participate in that process, and you can go online and understand how to do that. Our listening tour, as Dr. Garza said, is Saturday at 10 o'clock at Kilmer. I hope everyone from Providence District and others can come. And last but not least, I'll be at Flint Hill Elementary School on Monday for the Veterans Day celebration, which I look forward to. Thank you.
Mr. Becker. Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple
items to note. First, I wanted to thank the Fairfax County firefighters for doing what they have done for so many years, which is to sponsor the coat distribution drive. They have done a fabulous job. They provide hundreds of coats, maybe even thousands, but at least hundreds of coats, and these are US-made coats for the first time. They're actually manufactured in Florida, so we're pleased and proud that we can put 150 citizens to work making these coats, in addition to the value that they provide to our school-age kids who desperately need warm attire. And anybody who's been in a school, and particularly this time of year, recognize that there's kids coming in with some mighty thin overcoats, and in some cases no coats, and really need the help to be able to do well this winter. So I always like to thank Captain Willie Bailey, who's the principal driver of this process, securing donations and really getting the support. But all the firefighters, retirees and active firefighters, were very involved, and the PennDOS station was full of coats and kids and school buses and everything else you might imagine. It was a wonderful, wonderful morning. So thank you all for that. We also had Hollow Meadows Food Day, which is on the 28th of October, and it's an event that was sponsored by Real Foods for Kids, joined Hammermaster's organization, but in particular, I wanted to thank Mary Porter, who's been very involved with Real Foods for Kids. And she's also PTA president at Hollow Meadows, and John Gates, the principal. He was very involved and very supportive. And to be honest, I hadn't been to a previous one, and I went and I was surprised at how large of an event it is, and how many booths and how much activity. And anybody who wants to kind of taste what's available for kids and what we can be doing for kids with essentially, less processed foods, please come to the next one. I know they have them periodically, and it was a great benefit, I think, to everybody who can be involved. So, the last point I want to make is just something we talked about earlier, which is a policy issue about the dance. The folks are doing the dance, and I'm obviously very supportive of increasing the amount of extracurricular activities and even in core activities, active activities our students can do. But I want to remind the board and remind all of us that we are limited in many ways by the new state law, which essentially prescribes us to offer financial literacy classes for our high school students, even though in Fairfax County we have an amazing and wonderful 8th grade program that, to all of our minds, I think serves that purpose. So I just need to reiterate that, and I know as a board we're going to want to take that up at a future date to address it. Thank you.
Mr. Ash?
No additional comments.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McGovern, I wish I could join you at your meeting tomorrow afternoon, but I would be going out of town, so please convey my regrets to your students.
Don't worry, we won't show any videos of you dancing.
Thank you so much, Mr. McGovern, for your reminder. And I'll be joining Mr. Narcofax on Monday at Lee High School. I think this is the first time in many years I won't be at the Flint Hill Elementary School. And earlier today, I was at the luncheon sponsored by Leadership Fairfax. There, the assistant principal of Annandale High School, Joe Thompson, received Educational Leadership Award from Leadership Fairfax, among other things, for his leadership provided for Annandale Pyramid Resources Fair, where we all remember that toward the end of summer, where this collaborative effort by Annandale community was able to provide services and goods to more than 3,000 people, students and family members, for the value in excess of $300,000. I was very proud to be there to congratulate Mr. Thompson. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Yeah, we need to take a 5-minute break so that they can change the tape.
Good.
We are done with the regular meeting.
We're 9 minutes.
Hey, Dan.
Yes. Yeah, right. You know what happens when you do that.
Yeah, a little more. Just want to cut out some.